Hello, and thank you for joining me at Spooky Reviews. I'm the Ghostess, and I'm definitely a Christmas spirit. I love giving gifts, singing songs, sharing stories. This whole time of year is about peace on earth and pure joy. But still, nothing pleases my hideous horror heart quite like taking that sacred celebration and juxtaposing it with chaotic carnage. Between Yuletide ghouls and seasonal slashers, I love revisiting my favorite holiday horrors of film and television every year. Whether you want Christmas killers, New Year's evildoers, or just a non-denominational walk through a winter wonderland of blood-soaked snow, I've put together a list of the 13 best holiday horrors you should revisit every year. Let's begin the countdown with number 13. Terror Train, 1980. All aboard! The victim of a ridiculous prank gone wrong gets their revenge served up cold during a New Year's Eve costume party on a train. The killer keeps switching disguises and uses the party chaos to get away with their crimes, as characters slowly unravel what's really going on. Starring the Scream Queen Supreme Jamie Lee C as the guilt-ridden final girl, with plenty of magical moments brought to you by David Copperfield. This New Year's slasher has plenty of twists on the track and goes full steam right to the end. It's definitely dated and very silly, but that never derails it from being fun holiday horror. Number 12. Black Mirror, White Christmas, 2014. Nothing says Christmas like a honey-baked John Hamm, delivering charm and smarm even-handedly throughout this interwoven anthology special within an anthology series. This technological dystopian existential crisis of a show has another seasonal episode, USS Callister, which I personally think is one of its very best, but its Christmas setting is far more incidental. White Christmas uses a time of year that emphasizes togetherness to amplify the bleak themes of loneliness and isolation. The different stories flow surprisingly well together, explaining concepts that become fundamental for the series moving forward. Its use of Wizard's "I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day" has made that song synonymous to me with psychological torture. That adds a bit of existential dread into my Christmas shopping whenever it plays over the loudspeakers of a store. Number 11. Dead Snow, 2009. This might be a little bit of a cheat, but my list, my rules. Okay, so technically this does take place over a holiday break. It's supposed to be the Easter holiday, but still, it's a holiday. And it does take place on the snow-covered mountains of Norway, where vacationing co-eds get more than they paid for with their cozy ski cabin when they encounter zombies. But not just any old zombies. I'm talking Nazi zombies. And with a premise like that, how can you say no? It's fantastic fun, ridiculously absurd, and a gory winter wonderland, which has plenty of great thrills, greater kills, and the greatest chills in this frozen foreign film fright. Number 10. Better Watch Out, 2016. A babysitter's Christmas gig goes sideways when hit by a home invasion plot, and I really don't want to say much more, so I don't spoil it. It's got more twists than a candy cane, and the cast does an excellent job balancing the different angles of their characters. This movie starts off with comedic energy and gets progressively deeper and darker as it goes on, with sprinkles of tonal whiplash in between. I honestly like the whole display and what it has to say about the teenage mentality that makes for one hell of a sleigh ride. Number 9. Tales from the Crypt, 1972. Most of this anthology adaptation of the 1950s comic series is pretty mid, but it starts off with an absolute bang. And All Through the House stars Joan Collins as a woman who murders her husband on Christmas, attempting to hide the body from her daughter who's excited for Santa Claus to arrive. Unfortunately, there's already one prowling the premises after escaping from a mental institution. It's an excellent slasher short film with plenty of saturated 70s set design, genuine shocks and suspense, suspense and a wickedly delightful comeuppance. The HBO series recreated this short for the second episode, with Robert Zemeckis in the director's chair, and the longer runtime gave it room to build up the tension with a much more intentional lean into the gleeful macabre that was this TV show's staple. Plus, the show has a way more compelling Crypt Keeper than the movie. Number 8. Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale, 2010. Can a movie be simultaneously adorable, horrifying, wholesome, and insane? Finland says, hold my eggnog. It's a twisted Christmas tale for sure, when a mining expedition unwittingly uncovers a dark Christmas secret, and it's up to one boy and his father to save the season. Ever since I saw this one, I have been head over heels in love with this completely original concept. And boy, if you love old men full frontal running through the snow, you are in for an absolute treat. And even if you're not, I recommend digging this one up and checking it twice. Number 7. The Twilight Zone, 1959 to 1964. This needs no real introduction. The Twilight Zone is the pinnacle sci-fi horror anthology series, delivering self-contained stories with ironic twists, narrated by Rod Serling. And every year, from December 31st through January 2nd, the Sci-Fi Channel hosts a marathon of its best episodes. A staple of my childhood, young adulthood, and now and foreverhood. I always like to catch the classics like The Masks, It's a Good Life, Time Enough at Last, and Eye of the Beholder, but I especially make sure to check out the Christmas episodes. The first one, Night of the Meek, follows a disillusioned mall Santa wishing he could be the real deal just for one night. One of the few episodes where the supernatural twist ends up bringing a glimmer of hope into the world. But if I had to pick, I personally prefer the seemingly Sartre-inspired 5 characters in search of an exit, playing on the existential horrors of identity, when a group of people defined by their professions awake trapped together, terrorized by the clanging of a loud bell, with an appropriately Twilight Zone-y twist. Number 6. The Lodge, 2019. Franz and Fiala love delving into the deeply unsettling and wicked realm of a child's conception of the world around them. The religious influence on the personal sense of cosmology soaked this movie right down to its core. The bone-chilling tone is as cold and isolating as the setting, highlighted by striking visuals and a bitter sense of unease. It's by no means a joyous atmosphere, but its deceptively quiet mania is just too good not to celebrate. Number 5. The Children, 2008. When families gather over the winter break for a seemingly innocent visit, it turns into anything but. This British indie sleeper is extremely underrated. I've seen a lot of killer kids movies over the years, and this one definitely does it the best. Kids naturally come with a lot of chaotic energy, much of that coming from their inability to communicate their real feelings. And the way they build that up until it bubbles over with murderous mayhem is done brilliantly and in such a natural way. It does a good job balancing the menace while still making you understand why the parents can't just strike back with equal force. And even though nothing is spelled out for you, you completely understand what's going on. And if you can track this one down, I highly recommend you check it out. Number 4. Night of the Comet, 1984. After the rest of the world disintegrates into red dust during a comet viewing, teen sisters take on the apocalypse like there's no tomorrow in this cult classic that is pure 1980s. I saw this one year at a friend's Christmas party, and it has been one of my favorites ever since. It's like if a Cyndi Lauper music video got drunk at a Christmas party and tried to make Dawn of the Dead from memory. It's a joyous send-up of 50s sci-fi that has effortlessly delightful leads, increasingly insane set pieces, and so much fun with every moment. Number 3. The Shining, 1980. Nothing says the holiday season quite like being trapped with your family surrounded by snow. And cabin fever does not get easier in a grand hotel, especially when it's haunted and hidden high away in the mountains. Honestly, I could watch this movie any time of year. While it technically takes place in late October, early November, we still get to visit a New Year's Eve party as our winter caretaker's mind unravels, while the ghosts get gussied up and ready to go full swing into their haunting thing. I've got a whole deep dive planned into my personal interpretation of the film, so let me just say this for now. Every inch of this movie is iconic. Performances, set design, soundscape, and score. The tension is high-wire worthy, and the snow has never seemed more sinister. It's one of my favorite films of all time, with a near-perfect 12.5 out of 13 spookies, and is perfect for any holiday horror marathon. Number 2. Black Christmas, 1974. I've talked about this movie enough for one lifetime, especially in my breakdown that I did last week of all 3 versions, so I'll keep this short and sweet. Black Christmas is one of the best slashers of all time, earning itself a 12.2 out of 13 spookies rating from me. My first introduction to the late great Olivia Hussey, R.I.P., and I absolutely have to watch it every year. It has a sophisticated storyline with a great balance of cool kills, smart messages, and great characters. But when it comes to putting me in the holiday spirit, there's one movie that does it better. And here are a few more spooky seasonal selections that didn't quite make the cut. And the number 1 horror guaranteed to get me in the holiday spirit is Gremlins, 1984. The reason for PG-13 ratings and many a childhood nightmare. I definitely watched this movie when I was way too young, drawn in by Gizmo's adorable face and then horrified by Stripe's slaughter of the science teacher. This movie is much like the Mogwai themselves, adorable family-friendly fun at first before transforming into a terrifying creature that gets sillier the longer you look at it. It is moments of maudlin misery mixed with genuine laughs and pretty solid scares in all directions. I love how these chaotic little critters imitate human behavior, making for some pretty spectacular Christmas camp. The impressive voice acting brings them to life so they can live in my mind rent-free. This petrifying puppet picture is the perfect way to celebrate the season and ring in a new year. So those were, in my humble opinion, the 13 best horrors to revisit around the holidays. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me at Spooky Ghostess on Twitter. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite holiday horrors are. And join me next time for another spooky review. Happy holidays and boo for now. But still, nothing pleases my hideous horror heart quite like a little bit boo boo.